Okay, good morning. This is Friday, October 21st, 2022, and it is about 8 o'clock in the morning, a.m. This is Pacific Standard Time. And so this is the first part of, this is actually the first video. I've done probably 20 other videos before, but I talked about entry points and when I actually got into the market and out of the market. And I'm not going to do that. I decided that I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm going to teach you how to fish. I'm not going to give you the fish. And I think it's safer that way. Just leave everything up to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how these markets actually work. With 23 years experience, I learned a lot, and I traded through two recessions, a 2000 and a 2008. And now we got another one coming up, and this one's going to be pretty extreme. So this would be a good time to learn. So as you follow along each day, I'm going to try to post a chart each day and explain what's going on here. And maybe give a few lessons in between, but we'll definitely do that. But anyway, this is how I trade. These are what's called balance areas, and that's all I use. Just these balance areas. If you notice on my chart, I don't have any indicators on here, volume or momentum, none of that. None of that matters to me. This is a very, very simple system, and it's been working for me for years, and it works well. And I'll explain as we go on why I don't use these indicators. I don't need to use them. Nobody needs to use them. You know, you only need a couple things. One is these balance areas. The other one, a big one, is your intuition. And you get your intuition from knowing these markets. After a while, it's almost like you know your best friend or your partner. And seriously, that's what it's really like. And it's actually really simple in that way. So I got a balance area here. This is a daily chart. So each one of these marks, these bars, are days. And what happens is the market hits these balance areas before it makes a move. There's another balance area. There's a little one here. This is a pretty good size one here. And so the other thing is the color of the charts. I don't use the up and down arrows as green and red because this is a very emotional game. And right now, although this market on a daily chart, this bar would be green because it's above the close. Emotionally, I would think that, oh, this market's going up. And if I have call options, and by the way, I'm an options trader, and if I have call options on this, then I'm going to think, hey, this is good for me. And all of a sudden it's going to dip below this. I'm going to say, oh no, this is not good. So it's going to play around with my emotions. And so this takes that out. And I looked up colors also, and what are soothing colors? So this is a soothing color. Green is also a soothing color. I think purple. So this is pretty neutral right here. So I don't really have any emotional ties to this. Not like I would if I saw green and red bars in here. So I don't need to see that either. All I need to know is these balance areas, and eventually this market is going to break out, and whatever direction it goes in, that's when I start trading. I could trade within these balance areas, and I do that sometimes. Depends on the height. You know, like how many points between here and here, if it's worth it. And also the length is very important too, because the longer this goes, when it does break out, it's going to break out pretty far. Let's go into another chart here. A 3-year chart. So this was the high right here. And the market's been coming down. It bounced once and it bounced twice. Now it's into this balance area. And you notice there's other balance areas in here. Here's a line indicating that we are in a bear market since the beginning of the year. But of course, this is a buy-sell game. Always remember that. This is all about buying and selling. And if you read the news and they tell you it's about an oil embargo or something like that, just ignore that. This is about buying and selling. Don't even look at the news. Because in order for anybody to make money, somebody has to buy and then they have to sell. Eventually, just like if you're selling a product, you're going to buy it low and sell it high. And this is no different than that. These markets are controlled. There's no doubt that these markets are controlled because that's how casinos are. You think you're going to walk into a casino and take all their money? No, they have their slot machines, everything controlled, to the benefit of the house. Of course they do. And this is the largest game on the planet. Why would this not be controlled? That would be foolish to think that it's not. And there's nothing sinister going on. This is a business. And you have a choice of being in the market or not. So they're not forcing you to do anything. But as long as you're going to be in this business, I call this a business, then you need to learn how this game is played. And there's certain patterns. You can see that there's patterns in here that are very predictable. And so this is gathering steam right here. This gathered, it took off and it went pretty big, in a pretty big direction. And this is doing the same thing. So the only difference here, I don't believe it's going to go past this line. Maybe it might a little bit, but I think this is pretty much it because we are in a bear market, and I think eventually this market is just going to go down a lot. I mean big time, probably more than what we've ever seen in our lifetime. So that means it only has this area to play with. And this is just my guess. Of course, if it gathers here and it starts going up, which I highly doubt, then I would trade it up. That's what I would do. There's about 2 weeks here. And then the market starts to move in that direction. It's going to break out soon, and my guess from my experience is that this needs to break out pretty fast. It can't go on. So I'm guessing next week is probably going to be an up week. I thought this week was going to, but it's being dragged out. And you got to know that this is all on purpose, okay? I don't know what the news says. Whatever the news says, I don't care. Because it doesn't make sense anyway. You'll look at the news. I mean, look what happened during COVID. Okay, here's COVID right here. From here to here. I mean, that's huge. It is huge. And, what was happening during COVID? We had a war going on. We had riots. People were dying. And a lot of angry people. A lot of separation. And yet the market went up. So why is that? Okay, so you got to know that this is a business. This is separate than the rest of the world. This is about making money. It's about making money. And that's the way it's always been. Here's a max chart. You can see the market's been going up since the last correction in '08, and it's just been going up steadily to here, and then it just almost went parabolic. I mean, it just went crazy. So the markets are going to have to pay for all of this. This, you can't get away with this and not have it correct. I mean, this is all buying. Some selling here. You got some buyers in here. Went up. And then now it's going down. Then when it gets way down, I think it's going to go way past this. or not, I'm sorry, not way past that, way past this area and then down this. It's, you're going to have some buyers step in. But in the meantime, you've got, I did that. You still have buying and selling, you know, all these little marks here. The market doesn't go on a linear line. You've got sellers, you've got buyers, you got sellers, you got buyers, you got sellers, you got buyers, you got sellers. And now we're into here, which is a daily chart. And so we had some sellers in here. And what's going to happen next? I assume we're going to have some buyers. Unless this is the part where it actually starts heading down. I think it might be a little too soon for that. Not as far as time goes, as far as just from the feeling that I get from here. It looks like it should come up one more time and then go down. Because I'm looking at this balance area, and if it breaks out, then that's the direction I'm going to go in. It breaks down, that's the direction I will go in. And there's certain ways to trade this. You know, if it just breaks out, it might come back in. So there's certain indications that I look for, and that's how many bars. And I'm going to show you that as the market, see, this is going to be real time. As these markets start to break out, then I'll show you how these markets move as they're breaking out. And this is the dangerous part, possibly when to get into the market. I don't want to do that because this is about money. So I'm just going to tell you about maybe, hey, look, this looks like a good indicator, it could break out. But you always have to protect yourself, because when the market comes down, and you might be wrong, you got to get out. And all these people that have traded like in Bitcoin, they didn't do that. They didn't get out. They just kept thinking the market was a buy market. And it's not. It's buy, sell, buy, sell. And if you look at this, very short term, maybe a 30-minute right here. It's just a 30-minute chart. This is what happens within 30 minutes. So you're having these buyers, you're having these sellers, you're having these buyers. It still applies. Day traders, same thing. 5-minute chart, same thing. Look at, you got some sellers here, you got some buyers here, sellers here. And pretty soon you're going to have some buyers stepping in. It doesn't change. It's a 5-minute chart. And this is a max chart. You know, this goes all the way back 2017. Buyers, sellers, buyers, sellers. So you got to remember that. Very important. You don't need to look at any indicators. This is telling you everything. And it's really that simple. And I've looked at other videos, and people are talking about, they have all these indicators up. They have people are trading stocks, PE ratios. You don't need to look at any of that. You can if you want, but it doesn't mean anything. The stocks will go up even if companies are losing money. You know, that's been proven. Look what happened in 2000. There's so many companies, stock prices were going up, and yet they're losing millions of dollars. This is a buy and sell game, okay? This is separate from that. This is buying, selling, buying, selling. That's all you have to pay attention to. And for now, we don't care about what happened in the past, because everything that happened in the past is right here. It's all happening here. And you can see that there's selling and there's buying and there's selling and there's buying within this little box. That's all we have to pay attention to. And this happens everywhere. It happens here. It's collected in here. It happened here. You know, this is very universal. It's constant. It's consistent. It happens all the time. And I'm going to teach you how to trade. So anyway, This is Friday, and this is where we're at now. I believe we're kind of pushing it here, as we're going to have to break out by next week. And not only break out, but stay out. And meaning that it's got to go in, it's got to find a direction. And also I'm going to teach you about spikes. I love spikes. And here's a spike here, these little spikes here, spikes, another spike here, and you get spikes going down too, little ones here. And this is a good way to trade the market too, because these are good indicators of where this market is headed. It could be short term, and it could be long term. And usually the longer the spike, the further the direction. And if you look at, I'll give you a max chart. If you look at this one, you can consider that a spike. It's huge. And anytime the market goes down that far, you know it's going to come back up. I don't care if it's news driven, there's a war, whatever, it goes down. Now it's collecting all these buyers, and it goes up. And people think, oh, this is a disaster and it's going to go down. And yes, there probably were disasters during this time. And by the way, this happened actually before COVID. COVID hit right about here, the lockdown. And this market went parabolic, crazy. But anyway, anytime you get these huge moves, this one here drove it up to there. Short term, let's go with a short term chart. Market took off, it went down here. And actually I was in this trade. This was a very good trade. And it went down and it came up big. Now this one's down pretty big. My best guess it's going to come up, but not that high. I don't think it can really get past here. But, you know, as this keeps stretching out, I'm not sure what's going to happen as far as how high it's going to go. But we'll talk about that too, and how I determine how far it's going to go before it actually turns around. And so that's enough for today. Like I said, I'm gonna try to post every day, and I'm gonna give you some tidbits here and there and lessons on how this market is traded. But again, as you can see, I don't have any indicators here. There's no volume, there's no MACDs, there's no momentum indicators, nothing. I just rely on this because this tells you everything. Those momentum indicators, I've seen them where the market has gone oversold, and then it's gone way oversold, and the market just keeps going up. So they're not accurate. This is accurate. You can see that, these boxes, and as you trade along with me and you watch my videos, you'll see how accurate these are. But there's more to trading than just this. It's getting in, when to get out, and timing. Very important. And the emotional part. And that's why I have these colors here, because I don't feel any emotion with this. If I saw red and green, then yeah, I would be feeling some emotion on that. And that would be subconscious and unconscious. And unconsciously, I might make a move that I'm not supposed to make, because I would be looking at these red and green lines. So we'll get more into that as the days go on. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.